Good morning.
Whew, you're louder than I thought you was gonna be. Hello.
Hey,
How are
Christian.
you? You
I
look so
am.
happy.
Hey, I'm happy. It's the morning time. We here, we live.
We are
Exciting.
live. It's exciting. Good
It's
morning from
exciting.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I can
Talk
tell.
about urban development. Talk about
Yes.
urban development.
Talk.
Let me just say, San Antonio and Puerto Rico have so many similarities. I have been like really diving into their expansive market, very inner city communities, the housing, commercial property, skyrocketing prices, uh, just uh, connectivity issues with the native community. So I feel like I'm still in San Antonio a little bit outside of 85 degrees, the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
hmm I got a nice little setup down here also in the hotel that gave me a good space. Also, good morning,
Good
Sharika.
morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
And you're traveling also, right? Did I see that you're traveling, or are you back in Texas space?
I am back in Texas.
That's
As of yesterday.
as of yesterday.
Yeah.
Busy people. Busy people we have here. And then soon we'll have Melvaline join us from Moody Nolan Architects. And then we'll have also Mr. Tony Fuqua join us. Um, okay, remind me Tony's business name, please. Because I call him the 7 foot flipper, like from Twitter.
I think it's partly 7 foot flipper, honestly.
I call him 7 foot flipper, and I always, whenever I introduce him, like, and this is a 7 foot flipper, from Instagram and Twitter, and I know his business name, and he's got such a successful brand.
I think we should just refer to him as 7 foot flipper. That is his
Ah,
brand. That is his brand name. He guarantees it. When he walks in, you see a
guarantees it.
7 foot guy that can develop around the neighborhood. That's what
There we
matters.
go. Hello, good morning, Melvaline.
Me.
This is exciting. I'm so happy to have Melvaline on this morning, and we get to introduce you to Sharika Arch when in a second she'll be back.
Okay.
Um, how are you doing this
I am doing all
Tuesday?
right. How are
That's good.
y'all?
Doing well, doing
Fantastic.
well, doing well, doing well.
Fantastic. We're having a good time. Uche just sent me a whole bunch of new questions. So I have,
Ooh,
yeah, I'm out here getting ready, okay? The
We're
hotel
gonna
set
stick
me
to the
up.
script.
What script?
no,
There's a
no.
main script and there's some other additional, but that's okay. It's gonna be a good it's gonna be a great flow of
Are you
questions.
already live right now?
Oh yeah, we're live, but that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. That's the whole point of live. You join in early, people walk in. This is us networking,
Right.
connecting, trying to get people to get involved. It's 8 a.m.
Why
Telling
do we
people,
have to have the formalities? Like, right? Why do we got to have the big old parade whenever we go live?
no, no,
Just go
no, that.
live.
You see how they do it on Instagram? People go live, all right? They wait for people, do their thing, walk around. This is exactly that kind of feel. So we want
Yeah.
people to be comfortable, grab some coffee. Some people are joining in and out, and that's okay. That's okay. But I think it's going to be a great conversation. I'm going to drop off. I'm actually just
No, Uche, don't drop
going to
off.
manage it from the back end while y'all
Please
deal.
don't.
Oh.
Why are you like this? Don't do this to me. Come on, join in with me now. Moderate with me,
That
please.
is not what you said yesterday.
I'm joking. All right, all right, all right, all
Come on, just hang out with us for a second, Uche. I'm pretty sure we need to have you as a balance also. We can't have all these women. Tony would sit up in here. Whenever he jumps on, he's gonna be the only man. So
right.
we need a little balance.
All right. Let me check in on Tony. You guys network. Make sure like we said, this is Builder. Everyone, welcome. This is Builder Square. We're honored that you're joining us this morning early. Please grab some coffee, get ready, get excited. We have Melvin, we have Sharika, and we have Christian, and Tony Fuqua should be joining us shortly. But we're going to have a good conversation about urban
All right.
development and what that means to our culture.
Yes. So, Melvin, since we are already live and you're here and you look fantastic, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
All right. Hi, I'm Melvin McLemore. I'm a associate and project manager at Moody Nolan. Moody Nolan is the largest African American owned architecture firm in the country. I am licensed here in Texas. I've been practicing for about 13 years. I currently focus on higher ed K 12 work, and I've done a little bit of everything over my career. Um, Mom of two, and two little ones, a 3-year old and a 5-month old. So, kind of fresh back in the work world, and just really excited to be here today.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so impressed by you, Melvin. I'm so grateful that you gave us this time this morning. And excited to introduce you to Sharika. So, in my point of view, Sharika is right here. We're squares. Okay. We'll try not to be out here pointing like we in the Brady
Yeah,
Bunch.
don't.
All right, Sharika, if you don't mind taking a moment to introduce yourself.
Hello. Well, I'm Sharika Arch, president of Straight Line Management. We are a general construction PMCM firm here in San Antonio, and we do practice our PMCM nationwide. And I'm a mom of three boys.
Oh, awesome. Boy mom, like me.
Yes. So, and there are three, not, no, three, 10, and 14.
Oh, wow.
He's
Wow.
14. Okay. All right. Sharika, how long have you run your business?
So, we have been in business now 13 years. I've been in the construction industry for right at 19 years.
Wow.
And we started off doing PMCM and we ventured off to general construction little over 10 years ago.
Okay. For the people that don't know what PMCM is, can you give us the acronym?
Project management, construction management.
Love it. Okay, and folks don't know, we met randomly, like right when I started my business in San Antonio. Sharika's husband walked up to me and said, "You need an office space? Come office at my space." And like literally held my little business hostage for like 9 months. And he didn't charge me rent. He didn't. They used to buy my lunch. Even when I had my 80-year-old auntie being my intern, they even gave her a desk.
Wow.
Okay, it was a community over there on North New Braunfels, 734. Okay, I thought that was awesome. So it's great to bring you two together. I am so excited. Uche is going to join us right now in Tony's steed for a second, I guess. Uche, you should introduce yourself.
Ooh, okay. All right. Well, my name is Uchenai Agba. I am the co-founder and chief operations officer for EHCU Public Relations. We are a public relations and marketing firm here in San Antonio. Been in business 10 years. I got one child, my dog Miller.
I thought, listen.
and
Okay, Uche.
he's currently sleeping laying next to me right now, bothering me. But it's a pleasure to meet all of you. I am very excited for this conversation. I'm excited to be among some strong Black women. So I feel the Black female energy right now. I'm all hype and
Look at
everything,
look.
excited. Like hey. So hey, look, I'm ready to learn, ready to grow, and ready to engage each and every one of you.
Awesome.
So thank you all for being here.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, and I'm Christian Reed Agba, co-founder of Echo Public Relations. I guess I'm a mom of a pup. Uh, we've been in business for 10-ish years. Uche, I feel like it's 11 to me, but it's cool.
It's about 11.
10 years. Uh, doing public relations, and then talking about things in the community and being active and vocal in various commissions and boards and things like that. And mostly through Twitter and Instagram, been able to really garner a lot of access to a lot of conversations surrounding development. Most recently, we attended a number of District 2 development meetings, and we saw that there was a disconnect with the amount of education available and the amount of resources available in terms of building an educated community surrounding urban development. And it was causing a lot of friction. So we decided as a group, as a team, and we welcomed Moody Nolan into this conversation to start our own little chit chat, our own coffee break. And it is Builder Square. And I thank you all for joining. I can't see our feed right now. I can just only look in. So I'm trying to not look like I'm searching stuff on the internet, but I am definitely searching things on the internet right now,
I can
trying to
show
see
you
if we
one.
got some questions. So let's get started. Hey, Bree, thanks for joining us this morning. So let's get started. Let's ask some questions. In San Antonio's urban development, or Texas urban development, because you all work all over the state. How has it been? Sharing and showcasing your diverse point of view in the projects that you participate in. And I'm gonna give that one first to Melvaline. Uh, as an
Okay.
architect, look, I know this is an icebreaker question, um, but how has your diverse point of view really been prevalent in how you create and optimize your skill for your projects?
I'd say it's for the audience very welcomed. You don't see a lot of Black women in architecture, so I feel
Mhm.
like when I go in to communities that look like me, put on my advocacy hat and I'm ready to fight for all the things that I feel that community needs or that my clients need.
Mhm.
So I think in the past in my career that wasn't so welcomed, because I'm not usually looking like my clients. But when I do have the opportunity to, I think it's been very welcomed and appreciated by those who I've had to serve. So,
Okay.
quick icebreaker. I didn't know you were going to me first, but
Oh yeah,
thank
it's a toss
you.
up. It's gonna be a toss up.
Yeah.
Sharika, as a diverse leader and business manager and project manager, how have you showcased your point of view in your projects?
Well, and construction is still, the scale is still not even, but I do feel like with it being more women in leadership and more African Americans in leadership, um, the conversation is a little more open and it's a
Yes,
little
ma'am.
more relaxed, and people really want to understand and hear from our point of view. I don't think anything is going to change majorly when you're talking about, just construction in general, because it's a lot of large firms out here. It's more large firms than it is small business. But I do feel like the conversation is easing up a little bit because people really want to know. They really want to know from our point of view in our community, how is it? How do we feel? How could they help? Because if you look, now we're building more in the lower income or more in the minority communities than ever.
Yeah.
So, in order to come into those communities and develop, they need the input from those communities. They need to understand the demographics. They need to sit down at the table with them. So, I see people are more open to that because they're having to do business in our area.
And them having to do business in our area, and it seems like it's so urgent, like when the developers come in to the minority communities and they're just like fast, 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 build, build, build. Why is that? Why are these urban communities so valuable now? And I know this is a real estate question, and you know what, Bree is in the comments. So if Bree wants to go ahead and drop some information in them comments, I would welcome that. Okay, because I was having a conversation with a podcaster a couple of days ago, and I said, this, if our community is worth $1.3 billion, how come we're not being treated like we're billionaires. Can we say
Mm,
that out loud? Is that something
Because
we
it's
can
not
say?
us, it's the community. So it, they value the land and the property in the area more than they value individuals.
mm,
Now, how do we flip the script on that?
We have to own more.
Oh, okay.
We
Okay.
have to be more visible. We have to, in order to be in charge of something, it has to be yours. Like you have to be the owner of it. So the only way we can flip the script for them to come to us and actually value us as individuals is we have to be more in charge and we have to own more. We have to do more for our community. Having a voice is okay, but make them come to you for something. Now they don't have to because we don't
We,
own it.
we don't own it.
Right.
Okay. And so, and I was also having another conversation around design and development is three different parts, right? It's figuring out what the community wants, figuring out where to place it, and then, of course, building it. And all of that affects a lot of different things. Melvin, we've been working together for about 8 months now, and I've been to many of your design charrettes.
Mhm.
Explain to us why it's so important to get so much feedback as you're designing for urban communities. And you're working in San Antonio now for about 8 months, and it's been a lot of meetings, a lot of talks, a lot of presentations. What does it mean to say, all right, I'm going into this urban community and my design matters?
I would say it's everything. Historically, African American communities get things pushed onto them. So kind of tying back to the question you just asked, the power of the collective and voice it matters, as well. And I know that a small group of people being vocal is one thing. A lot of people saying, I'm watching this process and I'm going to stay actively engaged is another. So it's really important for me to encourage community engagement or community engaged design processes because I don't want anyone to ever feel like a major project that I'm working on is coming up in their community, which is going to impact their lives, and they didn't have a say so in that process. And that
mm,
happens very often. So,
Hmm.
and it's easy for those things to happen because the baseline attitude is, well, they don't care anyways, and no one usually shows up for these meetings, and no one participates. And
mm,
part of Moody Nolan's philosophy is responsive architecture. We practice responsive architecture, but I think that's part of my core values as an architect in general. I can't feel comfortable putting work somewhere that someone didn't contribute to.
mm,
They need to be involved in the process, and from their feedback, I'm able to come up with a solution that is um, built on consensus. I prefer consensus driven work, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be, rather than just saying, you know what, I decided your problem was, and I decided your solution is, and that's not okay because I
Yeah.
don't live there. I need to hear from the people who live there to know what they feel their needs are for me to apply an appropriate solution.
That's that ownership that Sharika was talking about, right? It's
Yes,
ownership of not
absolutely.
only our land, but also, yeah,
You gotta
yeah,
participate. Yes.
gotta participate. We have to own the decisions that are being made in our community. And I'm flashing back to a couple years ago. I went to a community development meeting. We've been to so many. I think all of us have been to like all of the community development meetings ever. And there was a lot of friction between uh, matured neighbors and residents and the newer leadership neighbors, right? They wanted so badly to discuss the growth of our community, but they couldn't really come to a consensus as to what growth looked like. Um, and so it left a lot of holes in the conversation. And then we had to vote, right? We had to vote, right? And then we had to vote on something called the bond. And no one knew what to do. Right, we just gonna all kind of didn't go in a full kind of, we didn't go in with any alignment. And so when we voted on the bond in 2020 or 2018, and then kind of had to wait for 6 or 7 years, guess what happened? Those older neighbors, those mature neighbors, kind of matured on their way. I don't know how to say like passed away, but
That was a good
That
way.
matured on their
they
way.
matured on their way.
Right.
And so here we are, here we are suffering from inflation and suffering from, development stalls because of uh, production and supply chain issues, and we're still in misalignment. What would you all suggest outside of, and Uche is doing some funny stuff with my screen, but what would you all suggest outside of continuous meetings, continuous uh, messaging getting sent to you via uh, mailers and things like that? What would you suggest the community to do now to figure out how to align themselves with growth? Because growth is going to happen, right? Growth is going to happen. We know we're going to grow. People should recognize some growth. Are there some ways in which people can educate themselves? What do you use to educate yourself um, on how things are growing? That was a long question.
That
That was
was.
a long
But the
question.
goal of the question was to ask, how do I get not involved, but get smarter? How do I get smarter
I'm
so I
gonna
can talk to my neighbors about what's going on?
Okay, I'm gonna start very short and then maybe I'll jump back in on this one. I'll say that it does require just getting in there and getting engaged because that is an educational process. A lot of times you just don't know how things work until you sit in the room, you start hearing and listening, and you say, oh, okay, I'm connecting the dots. Because sometimes there are community meetings you just learned were going to happen tomorrow, and you have a short window to decide if you're able to participate in that. Usually when it's something that you just learned about and they're pushing a timeline and there's this big meeting that a big be there if you can find a way to be there, because that's when those big things happen and you're dealing with the aftermath. And in retrospect, there's very little you can do to change things. I'd say push for transparency as well. Ask questions. There's no like rule book that can truly prepare you for the civic engagement process, but you have to start somewhere, and you get out there, you start participating, and before you know it, you'll be a voice that they'll be hesitant for you to be in the room because they know you're going to ask those questions that they didn't want you to ask. So, and that's something I'm growing in myself, not just as an architect, but as a citizen in my own neighborhood. I see things happen. I need to start figuring out how I can be part of the change. And being part of the change is understanding what tools and resources you have available to help you advocate for yourself and your community.
I love that. And I got a separate question for Sharika. Um, don't laugh. Because you're, and I really appreciate Merlane's answer because it does give us that 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 motivation to join in those civic conversations. So when you are at that level, go. You're being invited, go. Sharika, you've had a lot of opportunities to join boards and commissions and committees and things of that sort. And so when you're in those spaces, how have you been able to really expand? No, not expand. Understand the return of investment in urban development. Have you seen you I'm pretty sure you see the other side of the spectrum of, oh, is this gentrification? No, there's an investment and there's a return. How have you how do you get grasp that? Like, how do you grasp
So, um, I'm not into politics, and that's kind of like, to me, a downfall because I'm in business, and you have to understand politics and everything around who makes decisions when you're in business. But I do get into, sitting on the boards where they are making these decisions, they are having these conversations, and I ask the questions like, what is going on? What is the timeline? What does this look like for our community? How do we make any changes? If we vote yay or nay, what happens next? Like, you have to ask the questions because there's always going to be someone that knows much more than you. Whether it's education, book smart, or just street smarts, or just in the know. So a lot of the answers and guidance that I get when we're developing our properties, or even when I'm bidding on a project for the city, I'm going to my mentors. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Look at this. How do you see this going? I have mentors in other cities, because if we're not looking at the more progressive cities to actually get an idea of what our city is going to do, we won't know. And you have to look at the cities that's doing it before you. There's
Yes.
always another city ahead of you. There's To me, I can't really see them having a city that's first in the race. There's always another city that's doing something before you. And just go and do the research. Talk to individuals in the community. Watch what's going on their city website. Talk to the chamber and get that information that you need so that you know moving forward. I know I look at Atlanta and Houston a lot when it comes to how our business is developing, and how to push forward with minority participation. But I feel like it's so many other avenues of learning the information or getting the information that you need. Even sitting on the boards, sometimes I'm sitting in the meetings and I still don't know what's going on. So I have to go back and read up on packets that they give us and the information that they give us. It's always public information. It's
Mhm.
just how we go about researching and making sure we stay on top of the knowledge that we need to move forward as a
Yes.
business. Because it's easy to move forward in the world as an individual. As a business, you're representing so many different things: community, your employees, the demographic, the small business that you're I guess I want to say
Well,
the small
well,
business that you're in line with other small businesses, like you're representing so many different things and different people when you sit on these boards, that it's okay for you to ask the questions to get the information that you need, because you have to come back and share it. They put you on the board so that you can communicate what you're learning to a similar person in the community or a similar type business. So like even on the boards I sit in, it's only one of different individuals for that purpose.
Hmm.
mm,
How do you come back and get that information if you don't know yourself?
So it's actually interesting you mentioned that. So we have some comments going in. This is from Bree Jamison, and she actually had this is really long, so I don't think we can read it all. But it says the
why we
U.S.
can't? I love this
projects
comment,
as
Bree.
early as
Thanks.
2045, the U.S. will become a majority minority nation. Developers are staying ahead of the curve. The urban dollar is only becoming more valuable. Redlining is no longer an industry, and it goes on. Like she
An
actually,
industry secret. An
an
industry
industry
secret.
secret, yes,
Yes,
and
they're
the
still
collective.
trying to red line, so we got to pay very
Exactly.
close attention to what's
Mhm,
going on with these line drawings, okay?
mhm,
But it's no longer a secret that we have been systemically put in places in which we don't have power, mainly because of the line drawing around where we vote and how we vote and what we can vote for. But seeing that uh, and learning about it, we can use that to our advantage by one stressing that there's no more predominantly it's marginalized communities, right? As we go into San Antonio, we see that there's more houses that are over $150,000 on the east side. There are more houses on $150,000 than there are not, right? So these are less and less
250.
marginal. 250, right? The prices is crazy, all right. But does that identify our communities as being less marginalized because people with more money are joining those neighborhoods? Um, so the goal here is to kind of spread our wings and fly a little bit, right? They did that redlining because they thought we was all gonna live in the same place at the same time over time, right? White flight, and now we get subjugated little redlining things. She said no.
No,
Oh,
this is
Bree is throwing around. She got the knowledge. Okay, Bree, we're gonna sign you up for
so.
the next panel. Okay.
This is a community. So we have a question from the audience really quickly. Shantana Robinson says, "Community impact is so important. What's the long term picture look like?" I want to throw that out to everyone. See how you guys take your pick.
Everyone. So I gave my answer. I was reading that question, so I gave my answer already. I say spread our wings, move around. If you want to stay in your community, stay there if you want to. But ain't no I got money. I moved out the hood. Move into a different hood, buy the block. You know, Melanie, don't laugh at me for moving into a different hood. I went from the east side of Detroit to the east side of San Antonio, moving to a different hood. But at the same time, I understand that it's power in numbers.
I,
And
that's what I was gonna imply because I know that earlier you brought up gentrification, which historically has a negative connotation to it. But gentrification simply means investment. They're investing in a community, but historically that model has led to displacement. I think
Yes.
it's up to us to encourage a different model that doesn't result in the people who were historically in those communities having to be, essentially priced out of those communities,
Mhm.
and push for, models that encourage mixed income, encourage a mix of old and new, encourage, the people who were there want that new stuff just as much as the people who are moving in for that new stuff. But a lot of times the equation is the prices go up and the people who were there have to go out. And I think going to the comment that was made about community impact, you have to start saying that's important to us. You have to be a part of the right conversations because people will make decisions without you. And that's how it's been happening right in front of us for so many years all across the country. We watch our communities change when there's interest all of a sudden in our areas, and we don't get to be a part of those decision makings until there's someone who's making enough noise and there's enough eyes on it, and it, being a bit of being some disruptors in a sense, and saying not today. We're gonna be a part of this process, and we are insisting on benefiting from that. And I know that that's easier said than done, but it takes work to see change, because right now the model of investment and displacement is the norm, and it takes work to change that.
I know Sharika's got her hands in a lot of San Antonio development right now. You all are actually building a few things, and long term, they will be pillars in our community. Can you share a little bit about one or two or eight of your projects? Don't y'all have a big building that y'all are building up? Can I talk about it? Oh, I already did. So,
What big building?
no, I thought it was a big old building up there on is that Hackberry? Tell me about one or two or the eight of the projects. Sharika, don't make me beg.
Oh, so right now we are actually working on a historic park on the east side, which is to me more one of our exciting projects. I love doing parks because everybody just thinks that it's just grass and playground equipment, but it's so much more to these parks that are historic. Um, and now we're combining two parks together. So it's been a trying time, but I think that it has been one of the projects that everyone is able I mean, everybody involved, the architects, the engineers, all the consultants, the city staff, my staff have been learning every step of the way more things about the east side of San Antonio, just, in combining these parks. I mean, we've learned that it's a ground under the ground. So it's a lot that we're learning. And I feel like it's so interesting because a lot of times when you look at a park, you just see the grass, you just see the trees, you see the playground equipment, but it's so much more that they're putting into these parks that is meaningful for the community. So we
Um,
have all type of monuments and walls that they're putting up, and it means something to the community. So you have a community that's trying to get in a construction site every day to see something that they feel like was for them. So it's meaningful for us because we're able to partake in this project. Um, it's a big project for us. It's the largest park we've ever done, and it's less than a mile away from our office.
Fantastic.
So
You should,
we're doing a lot with the city, and we're doing some things that are private, which is the multifamily and townhomes on the east side.
you
Awesome.
say private, like it's like you're absolutely building this on your own.
Hmm.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Multifamily development. Dr. Shay, real quick, I know you got a
You
second.
have
Please drop the link to your newsletter, Dr. Shay, in the comments, please.
see,
Dr. Shay has a really good newsletter,
and
and
we
she's
got
actually.
some more. We got some more questions and comments. For we have a lot of people watching, y'all. A lot of
Oh,
people.
really? That's
Yeah.
fun.
So Dr. Shea said, yes,
Good
I'll use my
morning.
area as an example. Our neighborhood meets monthly, open to all citizens. This is how we find out about new builds, etc. Notices are sent out and we make our voices heard. We also had another comment from Adam Gates. He
Hey,
said,
Adam.
Christian and I talked about all forms of community, like cooperatives or community REITs. Some of these exist in a de facto way, but formalizing it might provide avenues for leveraging collective wealth. So those are just a few of the comments that are coming in right now. I think you guys are spurring a lot of conversations about this, where it talks about bringing people together, communicating with the community, bringing collectives in, and also reinvesting back in the community. So this.
Reinvestment is key. We're actually going to talk about reinvestment and further into the series. I was
Mhm.
able to talk to Adam. He has a podcast called the Land and Money Podcast, and we discussed different solution drivers, investment drivers, and ways of thinking for real estate investment trusts that communities can participate in. And I'm looking right now for some tech or cyber facets that are helping communities of color to reinvest in their areas and as a way um, to thwart or lessen the gentrification issue problem. You know,
Negatives of gentrification.
the negative, right? The negative, right? Because gentrification has to happen. Again, development happens,
If
change
you want
happens.
investment to
We
happen,
we need
you
investment
want
to
it to
happen.
have the right outcome.
Yeah, yeah, and we got to look at it globally, not selfishly, right? Um, uh, where am I now with these questions, y'all? These questions are just going all over the place. There was a script, but now Uche didn't make me nervous. Tell us, and there's a lot of people watching. Now I'm.
Just enjoy it. Enjoy it. This is amazing. It's our first Builder Square, so I'm elated. I'm over here just navigating, pulling people's
look at
comments in and out.
look at us.
So it's really really exciting. Here's a comment from Dr. Shea. She said district council men and women play a role as well. Newsletters, emails, etc. keeps their communities informed and are needed. Now, there's something I would like to bring up though. Like a lot of city outreach is lacking. That's my
I
opinion.
think so.
As
I
a citizen, I think so. Like, and this is not just San Antonio. I think this is across the board in many cities. And I have theories, but I don't want to jump on those
we can't
theories.
get anybody in trouble in
I'm
this.
not going to.
Not
But,
It's
but,
Christian.
but, but
there's a
one thing
messaging
you notice,
problem.
yeah. But one thing
But
you
I
notice,
think, wait, no, I
yeah.
think COVID has allowed a lot of people to be sleep and lazy with outreach.
Hmm.
So they no longer have to put on these events for 2 years.
Hmm.
And but guess what? People want to be there now. We went to that East Side area development meeting, and it was melee. Like it was absolutely embarrassing. Um, I was embarrassed for the city. It was 200 people there. They wanted to be involved. They had questions. They had issues. They had, solutions. They wanted to understand the presentation. And the city had 4 copies of the plan.
Mm.
And the city had a slideshow that was in 12 point font. And I said, now y'all had a lot of time to get this together. But apparently, they didn't really find the response that they actually gave the crowd was, we didn't expect y'all to show up. And someone yelled in the back, why? You asked us, you know? And I had to hear about it through somebody sending it to me, through Uche, and oh, we did a mailer. Well, half the room didn't get the mailer, but still, 200 people were there. And so there was this big giant disconnect, and to hear it out of their mouths say we didn't expect y'all to show up. I said 2 years later, 2 years into the pandemic, and y'all don't see growth. Look, Twitter's blowing up.
Mhm.
Yeah, but you
Mhm.
also have to look at the leadership that we've had um, in the last 3 years. What are their expectations of their staff?
Mm.
Because if
Mhm.
they're not pushing and expecting, greatness from the community, their staff is not going to be forced to.
Mm.
And that's where
Mm,
it always come. Like even even the large contracts that I've received, it wasn't because my proposal was great. It wasn't because I had the lowest price. It was because of the relationship that I had with leadership. So that's where it has to come from. And when leadership no longer looks like us or is advocating for us, it's difficult to get that message throughout the city. I mean, their staff of thousands of people.
mhm,
We don't have that strong leadership pool that we used to have 5 years ago.
mm.
Mm. Mm.
So until we get people in there that looks like us, or even because the leadership that we had 5 years ago did not look like us, but they cared and they really wanted to see the growth in the community. They wanted to see, the different things change. They wanted to see empowerment in our small business. So that was something that they, spoke about, and they forced it in their actions. Now we don't have any of that at the leadership level. Who's advocating for us?
I hear you. I hear you, and I and
Who's
I and
making
I
their
agree.
staff show up and be available and be prepared for 50 people, for 100, not even
Mm.
200? They had four sets of plans. So even 50 people showed up, that's not enough.
It's
Mm.
not enough.
And
It's
then they
not.
go back and they report it to someone that doesn't care.
Mm.
And
So
I,
until we make those type of changes,
Mhm.
but
Melvin, you
I'll
work
say
at
that's
this.
not. I'm not from San Antonio, so I can't speak to it. But I'll say that's not unique to your city. But I'll say, kind of in alignment with what I've been saying, keep showing up,
Mm.
because at
Mm,
some point they're gonna realize this is a norm, and they're gonna have to be ready. So I think a lot of times, you give a pass when you show up one time, and then you don't show up to the next thing. They have no expectations to perform at a level that is reflective of them caring about what you feel is important, unless you keep showing up. And I and that's, for all different levels of anything that you ever have, something that you want to see change in, keep being engaged.
so
thank
I
you.
have a question for the narrator.
Uche.
How how do you keep the community keep showing up? Because you lose faith when they treat you like this. So how do you keep the engagement at 200?
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, my thoughts on engagement is you constantly have to communicate with the community. I've always said with city officials, you can look at their social media pages, you can look at some of the content they put out there. It's not really talking to the community. Yeah, they're saying something, but they're not really saying something. They're not really directly addressing situations or instances. So, a good practice is if there's an issue, address it immediately or
Right
address
away.
it publicly right away. If I feel like the city would have done a better job if after the East Side planning meeting they saw 200 people and then they went out of their way that evening or that next morning and said, "Hey, we recognize that 200 of y'all showed up yesterday and we were not prepared. We apologize."
I didn't get a phone call after that or anything,
Or an email.
or an
Or
email
just
after the meeting at all. We didn't get any communication. Bree's dropping jewels
yeah, and
in the comments. Thanks, Bree. She
and
said, meet them where they are and use language the community understands.
yes,
Right?
and the reality is that like we are people. So if you communicate that, hey, we messed up, and everyone knows that they messed up, you're not going to get fired for it. But what's going to happen is folks will be like, all right, well, this is the next one coming up on this day. Please show up with the apology. Share, hey, this is the next one coming up. Please show up. We would love to have you.
We
We
have to
want
make
to get
this right.
we want to get an accurate account. Here, send me your name and email, whatnot, and collect information. There's so many ways the city can capitalize on issues, and that's we always say it's never a problem. There's always an opportunity.
Always
And
an opportunity.
yes, Chris.
Thank you. No, you're right. And I'm sorry, we're about to jump in to start finishing each other's sentences. Look at us. But I when I left that meeting, you all, I thought for sure, all right, they saw this big number, this big turnout. We should be getting some information soon. We got nothing. I went to Twitter, I went to Instagram, and I talked about it there. I went to Facebook and I talked about the experience there. Not necessarily to rag on the experience, but to let people know, hey, this is something that went down that it didn't feel right. The energy was not there. The energy was not returned. And hopefully, in my mind, hopefully we was going to get some feedback back. But a couple of days later, I had this huge piece of anxiety. Like, what if I get blacklisted for speaking up? What if I get blackballed for talking about this the way I'm talking about it? What if city employees start looking at me like, not that big mouth girl? Um, all of that are things that we have to go through almost every single day. While I'm tweeting, while I'm Instagramming, people are like, she being too loud. No, I need to be we need to get a little louder, right? We need some retweets, some reshares. We need to force some accountability. And we can only do that if we show our numbers. Bree just said accountability. Bree said transparency is always the best policy. I have to be transparent. We have to be transparent about our experiences and how they make us feel in order to get some transparency and reciprocity, right? Um, and so that is very, very important. You all, we have moved into the hour space. And I want to let y'all know I gotta check out of this hotel so I can
But wait,
get
wait,
on
wait,
my
wait.
flight, Uche.
Do we have? I know we're wrapping
We're
up.
gonna wrap it on up. We're gonna
We're
give
wrapping up.
Melanie, we're
This
gonna
is
give
good.
Well,
Sharika.
I did want to say something on that last point because I love that Bree put in the chat accountability. Y'all are talking about what to do and how we like seriously. 200 showing up to a meeting as a spark. 200 showing up to every meeting after is a fire. They have to respond. So
Ooh, let me hit
you
that one.
know, and just keep pushing, keep saying I need to be heard. Now we all know there's a right place and a right time for everything, so understand your message has to be appropriate, but you have to keep saying you need to listen to us, and there's no way you keep showing up and they can't listen to you because they are in the positions they're in for a reason. They're elected. They're there for a reason.
Oh, they interviewed.
They have to represent.
Yeah.
However they got there, they're in those leadership positions to be leaders.
Mm.
So you
Mm,
have to have a while I'm in the room, I'm going to say
word.
something, but say it the right way and try to push for results. You want meaningful partnerships to come out of these things. And if they see you are engaged and interested, I know at some point the tide's going to turn. So just wanted to jump
Perfect.
in there a little bit.
Thank you. Sharika, you got some
Dr. Shea,
lasting words for us?
Dr. Shea said that part. Uh, and we Adam Gates also said I can't pull. Bree said what she said. She said what she said. So we getting lots of thumbs up. Adam Gates also said financial literacy is also key. I guess he's talking about educating our community about the development space. So financially, and we agree, and that's going to be later on in the Builder Square. We're going to talk about financial literacy as well when we talk about investments. So I guess our viewers, do you have any other questions while we
Well,
wrap up?
Sharika's gonna give us some lasting words.
Yeah, Sharika, come on.
Come on, give us a little.
Thank
Take us out.
y'all. No, I'm joking. Well, no, everything was great. I feel like these conversations need to continue, and even on a larger platform. And one key thing that has led to my success nationwide is perfect alignment. Um, if we start aligning ourselves, community with the right people that can help us, get our point across, get our voice heard or just, put us in the right rooms, I think that that will help us get further as well. Alignment has just been the best thing for me, being a woman, being a minority, looking as young and youthful as I look, to get in the doors and the places that I want to be in. Because at first, everybody's looking like, not, I'm not sure.
Yep.
But once I come in the door with someone that they respect and they know for sure I want to do business with this individual, it's a no-brainer for me. So I feel like for us, if that's things that we want to do and get further, alignment is key.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm,
Sharika,
mm.
can you share with us your Instagram handle so folks can follow you and get inspired daily? You've been inspiring me a lot lately. I'm grateful for to follow you. Come on,
So
share it
the
with us.
inspiration is for me. So I'm glad that you all are being inspired too. So it is building with Lady Sharika, and that's um Sharika is Sherrika.
Okay, Uche's going to drop that link into the comment section. Uh, you all, please go ahead and follow Building with Lady Sharika. She's got some really good content and some really inspirational information for y'all. And the hashtags give, honey. Okay, millionaire hashtag. I love it.
Look, I
Uh,
just I just want to say I am honored to be in this space right now. As a man, I feel this feminine black energy, black woman energy, and I am. You guys have made my day. This Tuesday
it's
gonna be
only
an
8 o'clock.
excellent. It's not even 8 o'clock
It is
yet.
8 o'clock and it's Tuesday.
I love it. I love it. My Tuesday is gonna be amazing. Like y'all
This
don't
is
even understand. So I'm really grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Reveline, how do you want us to get in touch with you, or can people follow you somewhere? You want to share your LinkedIn or
Oh
your
boy.
Instagram or what?
Let's see, because I'm not a cool person on social media. So I don't think I have anything interesting to share, but definitely can find me on LinkedIn.
Okay, I want to do a little shameless plug for Echo Public Relations. We're San Antonio's only Black-owned full-service PR firm, serving San Antonio for 10ish, 11ish years, and we are so happy to bring you all Builder Square. This has been an amazing little coffee break. I have to, like I said, I got to hop a flight. If y'all haven't paid attention, I'm in Puerto Rico, and I'll be in Bogota next. So I will see y'all when I see y'all.
I hope you're
Okay,
making the right alignments.
I am aligning.
That's
I'm
awesome.
looking. I'm aligning with street art and food.
All
Okay.
right,
I
I'm
think
ending
that's
the
the right
stream
alignment.
now. Thank y'all. Thank you to the audience. Bye
Thank
bye,
you.
Thank
audience.
Bye
you.
now.
Bye. Great
Bye
seeing
bye.